We got a different dining table that was a couple inches taller than our previous table. It felt wrong to just sit in these chairs at the new table, kind of like we had to reach up to the table. We thought the chairs were just too short for it, but after some shopping and measuring, we eventually figured out that the chair height was fine, but the chairs had just started sagging over the years. You and me both, little chair buddy. I fixed it by replacing the webbing with some MDF, and here's how that went. I took the chair apart using the Ikea tools. Score one for my storage tub of Ikea stuff. After I get the legs off, I can take all the staples out of the Velcro strips using a scratch awl, a staple puller, and some needle nose pliers. The staple puller can't quite get under the staples, but I can get them started with the awl. I need to keep my other hand well away from the awl. I had to push fairly hard on the awl to get it under the staples, and I was making sure to press away from my hand. After I did the first chair, I figured out that I didn't have to take the Velcro off the back of the chair, so I'm only removing the staples from the front and the two sides. When the Velcro's off, I'll take the staples out of the white fabric covering the form. I'm not really sure what to call this, so I'm going to call it utility fabric. The foam is glued to the wood frame, and I'm trying to separate it as neatly as I can. I tried using a utility knife for this, but it turned out to be messier, and I think using my fingers ended up working better. With the foam separated, I can remove the foam cover from the chair. There's a little glue between the foam and the webbing, so I had to do a little bit of convincing to get it off. There's even more staples in this utility fabric that covers the webbing. Now I'm down to the webbing. There's 6 or 7 staples at each spot. You could remove the staples. I think it was easier to use these locking pliers. I get a bite on the webbing and use the side of the pliers as kind of like a lever to pull the staples out. Finally, it's apart. I took the wood frame to make a pattern by tracing the outline on some cardboard. I only had to make the pattern once, and then I just reused it for all the chairs. I got some 1/4-inch MDF at a big box store, and I traced the pattern on it with a pencil. Then I cut it out with a jigsaw, cutting pretty close to the lines. Sandpaper takes care of the jaggies that the jigsaw leaves. I attached the MDF to the frame with 1 1/4-inch No. 8 wood screws. There's not really any magic to that size of screw, it's just what I had laying around and it seemed to be about the right size. I drove the screws in just so they were just below the top of the MDF. Time to put the chair back together. For all the stapling I did, I used 1/4-inch staples in my staple gun. I put the fabric I took off the top of the webbing back onto the top of the MDF. Next is putting the foam back on the frame. I used hot glue to reattach it and used some spring clamps to hold it in place. The hot glue dries fast, so the clamps only have to stay on for a minute or so. Lining the edges up to the foam to the edge of the boards does a pretty good job of aligning it. At some point here, you'll notice a band-aid appear on my thumb. Got some hot glue on my thumb and burned it pretty bad. Be careful with that hot glue, kids. Now I'm stapling the white utility fabric back onto the frame. It's pretty easy to get it aligned right by just lining the edges up to the ends of the frame. Finally, I'm putting the Velcro back on using the old staple holes for a guide as far as how many staples to put in. The cover pulls on these, so I want to make sure that they're attached good. So after all this, the chairs feel like they're about the right height for the table. So I did 8 of these and got a little bit faster with each chair I did. I think it took about 2 hours a chair, and I spent about a week doing the project, a few hours a day. Good luck to you if you decide to do this, and leave a comment if you figure out a shortcut or if your chairs are constructed a little bit different than mine.